Go today.
Okay.
Blame it on Norfolk Southern? Blame it on Norfolk Southern?
Yeah. Former town.
Should we go ahead and start?
Yeah.
Do you think?
We can.
Okay, we need at least 4 members here. We have them. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll officially call the meeting to order. Welcome all of our guests.
But you can make them.
First thing is to have roll call. Members.
Mark Mills,
Here.
Larry Mosier,
Here.
Mike Nichols,
Here.
Joe Stevens, Isaac Chavez,
President.
Joseph Bookwalter, Chris Alba.
Okay, we have 4 members here. The next item on the agenda is the minutes from our special meeting last week. We have the right personnel here tonight to take action on it as long as we're all in agreement on it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from our last June 17th meeting.
I'll second to approve minutes from June 17th.
Okay, roll call on the motion to approve.
Mark Mills,
Yes.
Larry Mosier,
Yes.
Mike Nichols,
Aye.
Isaac Chavez.
Aye.
Okay, the next thing is our first and only public hearing for new business. It's CPC 2025-06, City of Frankfurt initiated at 357 North O'Neill Street to rezone from B residential back to C residential. Turn it over to our staff, Mr. Don Snock.
Mr. President, thank you very much, members of the Plan Commission. There is no findings on this project, basically because when the Unified Development Ordinance came through and we redid the zoning maps of the city, we made everything B residential, and unless we knew that it was property as in multifamily dwelling. So there are some that got moved from C residential to B residential, and this is one of the properties. Now, you know, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal was, and I'm going to give you a little bit of history of how this all came together, is that 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, when we took office, the Campos had built a garage, had permission to build a garage from the previous administration. And when we got there and started looking, we didn't think it was a garage. We thought it might be more than a garage. Well, it was. They were doing body shop work in there. So in our conversation with them, it's like, hey, to make this legal, let's do a use variance so that the BZA can grant you that, and then you can do your chores as needed on your property. So at that time, the property was Zone C residential. We went to the BZA on February the 9th of 2022 to get a used variance, and that used variance passed. And one of the conditions that was with this used variance is that no more than 5 cars that were in need of repair, that's the big word, in need of repair, would be allowed to be outside the building because of at that time, the lack of parking facilities and to keep the cars from being in the street. So all that passed, all that got recorded, and then the UDO came in and we changed the zoning from C to B. And you know, my question is now, does that make it a non-conforming use because it's not in the proper zoning district? So we're coming to you tonight to ask you to please put back their C residential zoning for this property so that the use variance would then be, I guess, would be permitted or be the right thing to be doing because it was given to them when it was a C residential. So that's what we're here tonight for, and we're asking that you please do that.
And my understanding is our attorney signed off on this
Right.
kind of roundabout way of getting to where we want to get to.
Yeah, I will tell you that when we came here tonight, we were going to have you table this, but some accusations that were made to me, which made me go out to the facility to see if some of the things that was addressed to me, which would made him not obey the variance. So we went out today to check on all that once I got a written complaint, and all of the complaints that are based on what we're going to do tonight are non-existent. They're not there. He claimed that he had more than 5 cars outside that were in need of repair. He does not. He actually only has 3. We've had a discussion about where the 2 of the 3 cars are located. He's going to work on that, but he hasn't. Everything that he's required to meet for the use variance, he has done that, and he's not in violation. So because of that, we're not asking to table. We're asking you to please look at changing this back to a C residential district. And Ms. Albertson, if you want to continue.
Yeah,
that'd be
so
great.
as far as the legality of it, by when he applied for the use variance, it was C residential. Because it was C residential, the use variance was proper and he was in conformance with the law at that time. When it changed to B residential, it's now a non-conforming use because you can't have that use variance with a B residential. So when the city changed it, when the UDO went into effect, that made him non-conforming. If it goes back to a C residential, which is what he had before the UDO was in effect, then he will be in conformance again. And then, as Don mentioned, he went out to the property to ensure that all of the conditions of the use variance were still being met and he wasn't in violation of any of those conditions. And per Don's report, he is not.
Okay, and before we open up for comments from the public, just want to clarify a couple of things. We are not in any way zoning this commercial
No,
at all.
no.
And we are in effect zoning it to C residential, so the conditions placed with the use variance can be enforced, which means no more than 5 cars. And in the absence of this, it's, the whole use variance goes away, as well as all the conditions. But if we zone it back to C residential, the use variance comes back in effect, subject to the conditions, which is 5.
That's right. No more than 5 cars that are in need of repair can be on the outside of his building.
And the reason why I kind of like use variance is it locks into that specific use. It's not a commercial property. You can't flip from car repair to whatever commercial. It's going to go back to then C residential.
That's right. So if he were to say, hey, we're going to move and sell, then everything goes away on the
Right.
variance. And if the person who's going to come back in wants to do that, they'd have to come back to the BZA
Right.
to get that used variance.
Subject to a new public hearing. So is there any comments from anyone in the audience? If anyone, please come forward and say your name and any comments, and then we'll open it up for questions.
My name's Todd Whitlock. I live at 359 North O'Neill, directly to the north of them. I just want to say I feel like they've been extremely compliant over the time. I've never seen any more cars out there than what they're supposed to have. I have 3 vehicles myself. I probably park on the road more than they do. So I just feel like it should be approved and would like to speak in favor of them.
Anyone else, please?
I'm Jennifer Davis. I'm at 350 O'Neill. I rent from these guys on the property across the street. We've been there since February. These guys, they're quiet, even though they have a garage across the street. I never know he's out there until I wake up and I see the cars have been rotated. And I mean, they constantly rotate, but he's not making any noise when he's doing it. He's not disturbing anybody. I know that there have been some other accusations thrown out. Should I address that as well? No? Okay. They're quiet. They're not causing any problems. We street park. Some of the parking complaint that had been brought up, the people complaining have a driveway that is at least a 3-car driveway, and they have 2 vehicles. If they, have a problem, there's a driveway. There's plenty of room, and people that park on the street, if we have guests, there's plenty of room to park down at the end of the street, so there's not really an issue. So, yeah, I'm all for them.
Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll have questions from the board or discussion from the commission.
Is this that building, the last building on that street before you get to railroad?
On the east side, it is. It's a 36 by, was it 40 or garage that was built, that was turned into a car auto repair shop. When we went there before he went to get a use variance, he didn't have a paint booth, and now he has, and that's all put in properly and has been inspected by the building inspector and the fire inspector. So the paint booth is all proper. His business is good as long as he doesn't go past the variance of 5 cars on the outside.
So the use variance done will automatically be, or will continue to be, and it will automatically go back into effect.
That would be true.
We don't have
If
to do it again.
you do not.
No, the use variance should be fine as long as we put it back into C residential.
Any other questions? Because in a way, the C residential is adjacent to what used to be an industrial district. I think it's now still industrial. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of a nice little buffer between
Again, whenever it's-
B and C if you want some justification from a,
One of the reasons why I was okay with the use variance was because of the industrial use on the back side.
yeah, because is that the railroad or Washington Avenue there?
The railroad runs along the south side of the
Okay,
property.
that's what I thought, yeah.
Is it time for a motion, Mark, or we
And for a
still?
motion, unless there's any more questions, yep.
I'll make the motion that we approve the, whatever this is. I'll make the motion affirmative. That we move it from B residential back to C residential, the property in question, 357 North O'Neill.
I second.
And it basically would be to favorably certify the city council, and we need all 4 members to vote one way or the other to pass anything tonight. So roll call, please.
Mark Mills,
Yes?
Larry Mosier,
Yeah.
Mike Nichols,
Yes.
Isaac Chavez.
So this will be submitted to the city council on what date?
On the second Monday in August. No, I mean the second Monday in July.
July.
This is June, second Monday in July.
Which would be the 14th.
The 14th, I believe,
So if
yeah.
anyone wants to come that evening to city council, you'd be welcome to. And
That's right.
So we're not the
City
approving
council
authority,
usually-
we're just giving
yes,
favorable.
That's a good point to make, Michael. This is not rezoning, this is a recommendation to the council to rezone.
this is not the final action. It's
Right. We have one more step to go.
And does city council usually allow discussion from the audience if they?
Yes, if
On these?
they sign up to provide public comment, then they can make public comment. There's a sign up sheet outside of the door, so if someone wants to comment at the city council meeting, just make sure you sign up, and then you'll have an opportunity to speak when we bring that before the city council.
You know, I guess we will have to sign this here too, because I even forget to do this myself sometimes, and so.
Yes.
The only other thing I have for you, Mr. President, is the fact that July is moving forward, and there'll be a annexation coming to you, friendly annexation coming to you in July for recommendation to the council. That's coming to you also, and that has to do with a business that's coming into the industrial park. The front section has already been approved by the BZA by special exception. And right now they're working on, it may not come back to you as far as the requirement of zoning or any of that nature, because they believe that that when it goes to the council, directly to the council, that the council has the ability. So they're checking all that out to rezone it as they pronounce the annexation to the council. So, but that right now it's planning to come your way in July. Don't we have something else in July? Is that the only thing we have
Historic
right now?
ordinance?
What's that?
Historic ordinance?
That's right. That's coming your way too. That is the Historic Preservation Overlay District is coming to you. We'll get all that out to you so everybody can read through it and be able to have questions ready to go for that meeting.
And there's a good possibility I won't be at that meeting if you talked about the last meeting. Hopefully, there's a way I can find to drag myself in here, but.
Is it the secretary that runs the meeting or the vice?
Vice.
Vice chair.
I don't think I'm the vice, I think I'm the secretary.
That'd be the gentleman
Larry.
that's off to the right-hand side.
You're up.
Mr.
I
think it's Larry.
I'll try to remember.
Oh, is that Larry?
Yeah, I think Larry's
Okay.
vice
I thought
president.
maybe it was our.
Yeah, I'm the second.
councilman.
I noticed that last time we were signing
I think you
things.
mentioned Mike was,
And you don't have to be in a shirt and tie either. You can come just like that.
but they start using makeup next month because we're gonna be on
Ah,
TV. I understand, so- So come
I'll be
early.
disappointed with me compared to him.
It will be just fine, if that should occur. That's all that I have.
So any other business from any of the members? If not, we'll entertain for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
No second?
Second.
Okay, by voice, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So we will adjourn the meeting and sign. I'm gonna pass this down for signature.
Thank you, guys.
They'll be the ones that put it back I don't know. We'll worry about that when the time comes. Usually.